Hi everyone, this is Gino with Sense, and I just want to introduce you to our newest member, Brady. Brady, tell us a little bit about you. How can we get a hold of you?
Hey, yeah, I'm Brady Stirk with Farmers Insurance. I'm a life insurance agent. You can reach me via phone. My office number is 719-223-7921. And you can find me on Facebook, it's Brady Stirk Farmers Insurance, and you'll find my page.
How about email?
Email, I've got brady.rmankey@farmersagency.com.
Okay, Brady. So I just got news that Farmers Insurance does life insurance.
That's
I'm
right.
so used to hear that they do home auto, they do car, but never heard about health, life insurance as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
tell me more about it.
Yeah, so Farmers does sell life insurance. Many people just think of them for their home or auto. We see the commercials and everything, but yep, we've had a life insurance line for many years, and we're actually in the process of revamping it this month. So excited about that.
So what would be a customer that you're looking for when it comes to life insurance?
Sure. Yeah. So really, to me, anybody and everybody should have some variety of life insurance. So I'm willing to talk to anybody about it because I believe that pretty much everybody should have a variety of life insurance just to make sure they're planning for the future and planning for their family. So, but for me, I really like working with young families. Maybe they just bought their first house or just had a kid. Those major life changes, that's a really important time to have life insurance because if something happens during that phase of life and you don't have it, it's going to be tough for the people you leave behind.
Now, if I remember correctly, there's like definite and then indefinite life insurance?
Yes. So there's a couple different types of life insurance.
Okay.
And glad you brought that up. There's term life insurance, and then there's whole life insurance.
Okay, there we
and then
go.
there's also a universal life insurance. Those are the three main types of life insurance. Term is very similar to your home and auto. You're paying a premium for a specific amount of time that it provides the coverage for. It's usually the most affordable. Whole life insurance is kind of in the name as well. That's your permanent insurance. That's going to be there until you die, not if you die within a period of time. They're generally more expensive. They usually have a little bit of cash value inside of them as well that you can access while you're alive. But that's permanent insurance. It'll always be there for you. And then universal life insurance is kind of a mix of both, usually geared towards cash value accumulation versus having guarantees. So there's a little bit more flexibility with those ones.
Now, you're throwing a lot of terms.
Yeah.
But to make it very simple, what would be the reason why you would get life insurance in general?
Yeah, absolutely. So the purpose of life insurance is to essentially replace your income if you were to pass away. So all of us are income generating machines, right?
Okay.
And if there's a breadwinner in a family that has two kids and stay-at-home mom and the dad passes away, he's no longer providing a paycheck for the family. They probably just bought a house if they have two young kids. And if there's no income coming from that breadwinner, that's going to be hard on the wife and the kids. They're going to have to figure out a way to pay the mortgage. They may have to just fire sell the house, those type of things. So making sure that you have coverage in place is really important. And on the other side, if you're a little further along in life, just making sure that you have coverage for your funeral is really important because dying, unfortunately, is not a cheap thing to do. So people's families are left, trying to figure out how to pay for a funeral all the time. You see GoFundMe pages pop up, all that type of stuff. And life insurance is a way to mitigate that and make sure your family's not torn apart financially if something were to happen to you.
So definitely coverage in case something happens. But what if nothing happens?
That's okay. I mean, that's insurance. I mean, that's any insurance. That's why we buy it. It's peace of mind. So again, there are certain products that can create living benefits with cash value inside of them that you can access if you need to. But otherwise, like with a term policy, generally you're buying that for peace of mind for your family, and it's usually pretty inexpensive on those ones. So
is term policy the most common product that you actually get?
Generally speaking, that's what most people are looking to get into, at least with the age that I'm looking at, and the majority of the people that I work with, just because it is the most affordable way to get into life insurance, and it provides the most amount of coverage as well with the term policy.
Okay. Now you mentioned cash value, which got me really curious. I am assuming this is the longer one, right? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, what was the name
Whole
of it?
life. Yep.
Whole life. So can you just tell me a tiny bit of how it works?
Yeah, so
You got me really curious.
essentially, the way that whole life or universal both have a cash value aspect with them, they have higher premiums, and a portion of those premiums are going into essentially an account within the policy that is just accumulating some cash value. It's not an investment like some of our investment portfolio guys do, but it's just a way to accumulate a little bit of savings. Sometimes people misconstrue the purpose of life insurance and they think, oh, this is going to be like my retirement. Well, no, that's not the purpose of it, but it can create savings within the policy. That's why they're a little bit more expensive. They're also a little bit more expensive just because they're pretty much guaranteed to be paying out that policy if you keep it until you die. So they want to make sure that they're recouping the money. So
the cool thing is that there is a way that you can see where your money is going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though you're not having any type of unfortunate event.
Yeah.
So now, is there, I guess, besides young families, is there any other market that you're trying to reach out to in this opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. So with life insurance, again, unless you're past the age of 80, that's kind of the cutoff as far as age goes. And of course, if you don't have major health issues, you can qualify. That's another thing about life insurance. You do have to qualify for it health-wise. But looking at people that are close to retirement is also a good market, making sure they have those final expenses covered for their funerals. Those are always good policies to make sure people have, and is another segment that I definitely work with.
So you mentioned health, as in like as long as you don't have certain health conditions.
Yeah.
What would be one of those that would kind of restrict you from qualifying?
And it's a great question. Qualifying for life insurance, there's a lot of misconceptions with it. And it also varies depending on the company. Some, just like home and auto, take different risks versus different companies, right? So for me, my frame of mind is, even if you have something going on, I don't really know. I'm not the underwriter, right? I'm just here to help you find the amount of coverage and put an application in. The underwriters make that final decision. So my attitude is, well, let's take a look and put an application in and see if you can qualify before I just tell you, no, you can't qualify. There are certain things, like if you've attempted to commit suicide within the last few years, you're not going to be able to qualify. If you're having a pretty serious bout of cancer or something pretty significant, then you're probably not going to be able to qualify. But we can qualify people who have had cancer in the past. So it's not a 100% no for the rest of your life.
So then, do we have to take an exam in order to know if we qualified or not?
Great question. Again, that does depend on the company. With our revamp, we're going to a model where it should be about 80% of people will not have to do any type of labs. So usually it's just a blood and urine sample. It's not a full physical or anything. But we're going to a model where 80% of folks should be able to be qualified without having to go through that. And that's awesome because that can take a lot of time. But there will be certain instances where you'll have to do like blood and urine samples, and maybe you'll have your medical records pulled just so that they can get a full picture of your health.
Is there any way that you could cover or share any of these policies?
That's like, what do you mean by share?
Well, I don't know. So you would have beneficiaries, right?
Yeah.
But on top of that, is there any type of way that you could just build an umbrella? I really don't know. I'm just asking you a question.
Yeah, so there's different ways. I mean, there's not really a way to share a policy. You can co-own a policy with somebody to where if it was a situation where you wanted, if you passed away, instead of the beneficiary getting a payout, the policy transfers to a different owner. Like if you're writing a policy on a child or something like that, where it's like you want that policy to be owned by somebody else if something were to happen. That's a possibility.
Okay.
But there has to be an insurable interest in order to write a life insurance policy on somebody. You can't I couldn't write a life insurance policy on you and make me the beneficiary. That doesn't really work that way.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, Brady, thank you so much for the information. Now, before we go, can you just let the people know again, how can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Brady with Farmers Insurance. You can reach me via call or text at 719-223-7921 or on email brady.rmankey@farmersagency.com. Thank you.